While the world watches Taiwan, Nvidia just quietly locked out every other chipmaker from the most valuable supply chain in history. It is called the Rubin Architecture. But this is not just an upgrade. It is a strategic kill switch. In the next 7 minutes, we are going to show you why the world's biggest tech giants just realized they are trapped in a $500 billion cage, and why Taiwan is no longer the center of the story. Our data shows that the silicon exodus is not just a rumor. With Rubin, Nvidia is transitioning to something called HBM4 memory. To understand why this matters, you have to understand the bottleneck. Right now, every AI company is fighting for the same limited supply of memory. But with Rubin, Nvidia has effectively cornered the market on the next generation of high-bandwidth memory. They are not just building a faster chip, they are buying up the entire production capacity of the factories that make the components. If you are not on the Rubin roadmap by 2026, you are not just behind. You are obsolete. Think about the competition for a moment. Intel and AMD are still trying to catch up to the Blackwell architecture we saw launched last year. But Nvidia is already moving the goalposts. By the time the rest of the industry stabilizes their supply chains for the current generation, Nvidia will have pivoted to Rubin. This creates a permanent gap. It is a mathematical advantage that prevents anyone else from achieving the same scale. This is how you bankrupt a competitor without ever going to court. You simply make the cost of entry so high that they eventually run out of breath. Why would Nvidia move this fast? Because of a shift in global power we call AI sovereignty. In the old world, countries bought oil to power their economies. In the new world, they buy compute. Nations like Saudi Arabia, Japan, and the UAE are no longer interested in just buying a few thousand chips to put in a basement. They are building entire national ecosystems. They want their own data centers, their own large language models, and their own digital borders. The Rubin Lockout ensures that once a nation plugs into Nvidia's grid, the cost of switching to a competitor becomes mathematically impossible. Everything from the software layers to the physical interconnects is designed to be proprietary. If a country invests $10 billion into a Rubin-based data center, they are locked into that ecosystem for a decade. This is the trap Elon Musk hinted at when he talked about the sheer scale of compute required to stay relevant. You don't just buy the chip. You buy the future of your country's intelligence, and you buy it from one man in a leather jacket. This brings us back to our main thesis here at Logic Map. As Nvidia shifts to Rubin, their reliance on specific geographic choke points is changing. For years, the narrative has been that if Taiwan falls, the world ends. But look closer at the Rubin roadmap. Nvidia is diversifying. They are preparing for a world where the physical location of the factory matters less than the intellectual property inside the design. We are seeing a global power shift, initiated by code and silicon, not just politics. We have seen this pattern before in other industries, but never at this speed. When a single company controls the most vital resource on Earth, the traditional rules of the free market stop applying. We are entering an era of algorithmic colonialism, where the nation with the most Rubin chips dictates the economic terms to everyone else. The great silicon exodus we discussed in our last video was just the first phase. The lockout is the second. If you are an investor, you need to stop looking at quarterly earnings and start looking at the roadmap. If you are a developer, you need to realize that the platform you build on today might be your prison tomorrow. The data is clear. While the news cycles focus on headlines and political theater, the real war is being fought in the architecture of the next generation. The question is not whether Nvidia will win. It is who they will leave behind in the exodus. If the competition cannot break the HBM4 bottleneck, they will be relegated to the history books alongside the companies that failed to adapt to the Internet or the mobile revolution. Look at the data. The shift is already here. Our suggested video traffic is already showing a massive spike in interest around these specific technical shifts. People are starting to wake up to the fact that the old geopolitical maps are being rewritten in real time. Tell me in the comments if you think Jensen Huang is a tactical genius or a dangerous monopolist who has been given too much power over the global economy. I am looking for the most detailed breakdown, and I will be pinning the best analysis below to keep this conversation going.